Hey everyone, I've got a few features I'm going to show in ShowCAST that we've added. I'm so excited about this. First, I'm going to show a few things about world scale before I get into that. So we get asked a lot about how the system handles world scale on surfaces. So we're going to get into how I've told the size of this cast in front of me, these elements. If I drag this over to the floor, it's going to drop down and be the size that it was on the desktop at that exact size. If I drag it up on my chest over here, it will change to the size that it should be. If I bring it up to my desk again, it's going to change to the size. It's always going to retain the real world scale, and we're going to show you how to do that as well as what we've added. Let's get into this. So I'm just going to go refresh. Now, one of the things that people get confused about is they think there's a sign-in process. There's not. If you go to studio.worldcast.io, you can pick your studio to start with. There's no garden wall to get into. There's no email to wait for. You just start. So in this case, you would go ShowCAST. I'm going to go freemium from now. I'm going to call this B-Rocket. Oops. Actually, I'm going to call this B-Rocket 2 since this is my second one I've made. And over here, this is where it's important to prime the area of the cast. So I'm going to go over here and go inches, and I'm going to go prime my area to be about 6 inches roughly. I'm going to go create. So now in ShowCAST, we have a ring with an arrow that shows you're seeing, so when you're facing user. So if you rotate the canvas around, and all the controls are up here, rotate camera, pan camera, zoom. If this is your first time getting into the system, you can pan back and forth, zoom in and out, and of course rotate. So if you're designing your cast, you got kind of lost. This is the way that how you can design it so you know what's going to face the user the first time they place content, okay? Why we didn't add that before? No idea. It was something that should have been in there, and it's just one of those things, but now it's in there. So it's better than nothing, right? So let's go to Sketchfab. You can upload your own model. In this case, there's, or you can use Sketchfab. Sketchfab's free to create an account with, and they have 500,000 plus free models. In this case, I'm going to grab a couple of the ones I've purchased recently to support artists because it's, we like supporting the community, and we buy as many models as we possibly can to help to facilitate that. So I've got lots of models on here. In this case, I'm going to grab the B again. I'm going to import. And it's coming at 4.3 inches from the bottom to the top. You can go through the animations on here. In this case, I'm just going to leave it on the idle. I'm going to go, I want this to be 4 inches. And I'm going to raise it about 4 inches off of the ground. And I'm going to snap it a little bit of a 45 so it's facing me a little bit more. All the gizmo controls are in the top left-hand corner up here that you can see. We'll get into that in another tutorial, but I always cover that just as a primer. So that's good. That looks good. Now, since this is what you see is what you get environment, the objects that you place are relative to the other objects are going to be exactly how you place them. It's a what you see is what you get environment. So wherever I place this rocket in the studio, it's going to be in that exact same spot respective to the B in the real environment. So I'm just going to move this over a little bit. It's already on the ground plane. It's sitting at 6 inches. Let's make this a little bit taller. Let's go for 10. Let's just bring this up to 0. Now, if I was to tell this 4 inches off the ground, it would come into reality at 4 inches off the ground plane. In this case, I'm just going to go 0. And when I mean ground plane, I mean the surface that this is put on. So I'm just going to move this over a tiny little bit. And you know what? Because we did this before, I'm going to reverse them just to show that how fast and live the system is. And I'm not using the same old thing. So let's just go like that. Maybe I'll rotate this rocket a little bit on a 45. There we go. I'm going to go save and publish. Once the QR code pops up, it's instantly available on Android. Give iOS a few extra minutes to process the USCZ. It could take up to 5 minutes depending on the complexity, but in Android as a GLB, it's pretty much ready to go all the time, every time. Let's just open that up. We're just going to scan my desk. Once the object opens up, so there we go. I'm going to go tap the place of my space, and the rocket's now going to be on the right, and the B is going to be on the left. Perfect. Now it's a white desktop, so sometimes it's a little harder to grab. So that's but it does show that this back in the day, this was like pretty much impossible to have this, but we have a lot of other elements it's picking up on. But if I do the same thing, drag it over here and drop it, just find the ground plane. There we go. It'll retain that size, and so on and so forth. So let's have a little bit of fun with this. Let's go return studio. I'm going to go faster. I want to keep this under 10 minutes. I am going to go to the cast properties. I am going to change this to feet, and I'm going to go update. So now the environment is set to feet. So this rocket is now 10 feet. So we don't want that. I want this rocket to be 4 feet. I'm going to drop it to 0 feet on the ground. I'm going to make this be a little bit smaller, 2 feet, and maybe raise it 4 feet off the ground and come a little closer because they've been spread out because you changed them in size now. So let's bring them a little bit closer to each other from center. Perfect. Let's go save. Once it saves, all we have to do is refresh the browser because it's the same. It's the same environment. We don't need to scan the QR code again. So this time I'm going to scan the floor in my office, and it's going to be the size that we just told it to be. It's now going to be much bigger. I'm going to move it over to my desk to illustrate that as well. So I'm going to place it in my environment now. So now it's the size I would want it to be. It's 4 feet from the bottom of that rocket to the top of it. The bee is now much bigger. So let's bring it over to my desktop. There we go. So now it's huge. It's 4 feet on top of my desk. Where's that bee? Oh, it's probably on. Where is that bee? There we go. All right, where are we sitting at? We're sitting at 6 minutes. Let's bomb through the rest of this. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly put this back down to inches. All right, I'm going to leave everything as is. That's fine. It automatically converts the models for you, so you don't have to do you don't have to think about it. And I'm going to go drag in an MP3. Now this is a premium feature, but I'm going to show you how you can actually use the premium feature without having to pay for it. So let's just go upgrade cast. Let's pick premium. Now the trick to seeing it free is when you hit save the very first time, just go save as draft. You have 100 views on the premium. You don't have to put your credit card information or anything. You can preview it without actually trying. You only get 100 views though, 100 lifetime views for that cast. So you can't cheat the system. All right, so let's drag this MP3 over here. Hit play. Yep, it's the right one, it's a B. And let's go save. Let's refresh that. Let's place it in my space on my desktop. So now we have a B sound. I'm going to put this on the floor. I'm going to push it all the way over here. The B sound is now low. If I bring it back towards me, it'll get louder. If I look to the right, the sound is in the left if I'm wearing headphones, or if you have a stereo-enabled phone. If I look to the left, the sound is in the right. And if I look at dead center, then the sound is in both channels. So here's how you can actually look at this with 100 views. In this case, I've already saved it, and I didn't save as draft, so I'm going to cheat the system to show you what you would see. I'm going to go schedule cast, and I'm just going to set it for tomorrow, which will unpublish the cast like it was never saved and put it in its draft state. So I'm going to go like save. I'm going to resave, so it takes that into account. I am going to go refresh over here once it saves. And we will now have a banner across the top that illustrates how many views we have left. Now we've already looked at it 3 times live, but so it's subtracting that away. And now when it loads, it behaves the exact same way. So we've added the ring and we've added spatial audio. There is no need to actually put your email address in until you get to the actual point where you've designed your studio elements, and once you hit save. Now if you hit freemium, that's when it's going to ask you to create your account for the first time, and you're going to get an email that actually shows you what you've created. Do I have time to bring this up? I do. So I'm just going to bring my email over, and you'll see that I've got this email that came in that lets me know it's got the QR code and it's got the link, so you can click that link on your phone and get the information. So that's it, all there is to it. So as always, I cannot wait to see what you create, and thank you for checking us out.